the recording. Thank you for watching. This is a video about how you get more customers, clients, patients, whatever that looks like. I want to be able to help you and share what I have learned, what has worked for my clients, because I think there's a disconnect at times when people are having this conception of what marketing is and what it's not. So I want to share with you probably the three. Oh, I just want to make sure my all my audio's good, my volume's good. So I had to turn it on just to make sure we're good. So we good. All right. So I want to share with you three things that are going to help you, that has helped me, that has also helped my clients, that has helped me help my clients. And then I also want to share what has helped my clients that I didn't even realize that has helped them. But let me start with, and those three things are going about setting up leads. How do you create leads? This is me helping my clients. What has helped my clients, or let me back up. That was me helping set up leads, okay? Me helping create a system to create leads for myself. Then two, me helping my clients is having a system, helping them identify the audience that they need to attract. And then what they're telling me is the feedback that they're doing for their own company to get the leads needed to get more clients or customers or patients or students. And let me just start off by saying, when it comes to everyone, this is not a bulletproof process. This is not a 100% guarantee it's going to work. Now, this is experience that I have learned, I have lived, and it's for myself, it's for my clients, and for my clients' experiences. So you please take this advice with a grain of salt. Use an 80-20 rule. Throw away what doesn't work. Apply what you believe will work. Now, let me just throw in one more thing, just for grins and giggles, and the Marine Corps will say something different. So we are in a changing time that no one has seen. We have artificial intelligence. We have an economy has drastically changed. We have, let's just say, some, when I say AI is a unknown entity right now. And so when it comes to AI and what that looks like when it comes to creating leads for yourself and all these platforms that are promoting AI, it's a great opportunity to start learning AI. But I'm going to tell you, AI alone cannot solve the problem of you not having clients or you getting clients. AI alone will not allow you to grow the way you think AI can grow your business if you haven't done the very basic fundamental things of creating the necessary process to create leads in order for you to get more clients. Again, I'm telling you out of experience, it's lived experience, it's clients' experience. And I remember during the pandemic was my first time when we had a huge issue like this come up, because I wasn't doing business in 2008 when the stock market crashed, or when the dot-com bust. The pandemic was the first time where it became easier for me. Just like now, it's become easier for me. The pandemic forced everyone to address and acknowledge the elephant, nasty, stinky elephant in the room, that you have to use technology. You have to use your cell phone. I had a client that didn't even have a cell phone at the time. So I was begging, pleading people to get a cell phone. One client in particular, they needed a cell phone. They were like, Nathan, you might have to go to the store with me so you can get a cell phone. Before the pandemic, they believed like I don't need a cell phone. I don't need a computer. They weren't even using QuickBooks. They were doing all their accounting by hand, and now they have changed. So some of this is, again, things that I have learned along the way, but some of these things I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to figure it out. So the advice that I'm giving you, please take it with a grain of salt. Please apply what you can use and throw away what's not. So let me first start off by saying, if you want leads, uh, and for those that I want to say that join, please let me know where you're from. I have an Emmett Zul. He said my last name is Webster. What's up, Webster in the house? What's up, Sync9 QUA? I'm glad you joined me. Let me know where you're from. If you want to ask questions, this is why I love doing the live. If you have questions for me, if it's about getting leads or if it's about business or if it's just life, you just want to talk, that's cool too. Ohio, what's up? I am, I'm in the United States as well. I'm in Vancouver, Washington, which is a little bit north of Portland, Oregon. Sync Nike, so you said you're from the USA too. Okay, cool. All right, so let's get started. So when it comes to Galapagos, Ohio, oh, I've never heard of that. Galapagos, Ohio. That's cool. Well, thanks for joining me. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, because I want to get into, for those that are like the number one, some people are like they are one of the best products or services out there, but they're like the best kept secret. Who wants to be the best kept secret? I know I don't. It's my aunt lives in Portland. Oh yeah, what's up, Jackson Roberts G9E? You're Portland. I was just there last night. Portland, Oregon. Portland is like our metropolitan, because Vancouver is a suburb of Portland, which is where some of my clients, and I get business there. And so let me start with the first. Remember, I'm going 1, 2, 3. I'm going to tell you what works for me. I'm going to tell you how I advise my clients. I'm going to tell you how my clients have advised me how they have gotten leads. So the first and foremost that I had to learn, what I had to do, was get people to, as you've probably heard before, know, like, and trust you. Now, I'm talking business, but this can apply to individuals, because as I teach at the college level and they say, hey, Professor Webster, how can I then get a job, or how can I get to meet this individual, or how can I get into this industry, this career, this profession, right? And I say, you got to hold informational interviews. All those informational interviews is for you to be selfish as an individual, as a student, and you can do that as a student, not so much if you're not a student, and come and ask a professional, what is that like? And so this is where you get to know and like a person. And then when you are exchanging with no hidden agenda, there is a different interaction. There's a different energy. And so the number one way that I have learned to gain clients and customers, which is, you probably think like, Nathan, oh, I can't wait to hear this, is I let people know what I do. And the first thing I do that is, because we have this technology, is I create posts. Posting on social media platforms, on all the platforms that make the most sense to you, that you can engage on, that are easy for you, that you can maneuver and navigate, because every platform is a different beast and it's different easeability, if you will, because some platforms, especially Meta, makes it really hard when you create a business page and you want to do ads. It's just a whole kind of mess in that regards. But doing say, if we talk about Meta and Facebook, it's one of the best places to be, because if it's your correct audience, that's going to be part of number 2. Once you find the right audience, you might want to stay on Facebook, because Facebook is going to be the people that are going to like you. There are going to, and it's older people, because they're the people that you already know, like, and trust, because they're your friends, right? So when you tell people what you do by sending a post, because typically a post is more of a highlight reel, a vacation, an achievement or accomplishment, or where you checking in at, maybe what you're eating for dinner because you went out to a nice place. You're posting things that are dealing with like what you are doing with your personality. But when you make a post telling people what you do and not asking for them to buy anything, now people are questioning, like, what are you doing? If your posts don't create any curiosity of what you're doing, then people don't know what you do. When you create that post that creates the curiosity to say, I don't know what they do. Now they want to get to know you. Now, the question is, do they like what you do? Not like you as a person, but do they like what you do to where they feel you can be trusted to execute that task or that service so that whatever problem they're having, you could fulfill that. So when you post, you may stay top of mind. That is the first way, and how I got into this business is I started to post on social media platforms. Even though I had a website, it's helpful. Even though I told people, it was nothing like posting, posting on social media platforms that you are able to solve people's problems. Okay. Now, if you don't make it anything more complicated than that, just say what you do. It's not about selling. If you're making it about selling, in my experience, I've learned you're making it about the transaction versus a relationship. Most of the time, people, yes, want to buy something, but they also want to believe in what they buy makes sense for them. And it's just not going to be a one-time thing to where once I buy something, I can't come back. People have a desire to buy something that they know that they can trust that it will be there if something goes wrong, or if they want more, or if there's different options. They want to use that place that they're going to as a source of information because they got it from you, right? You're now this resource. So when they connect that with you, now you become this I don't know, small business expert, the hub, the brand, whatever it is. Now they have connotated top of mind. You're that person. That's what has worked for me. Now let me tell you what has helped my clients. Okay, this is first one for me, and I do this in my business too. So I do all three. Number one is I tell people through posting, okay, that I shouldn't be the best kept secret. And I am horrible at posting. I'm doing a better job. So I'm gonna go to number two. Well, I shouldn't say I'm horrible. I'm just hard on myself. I'm not bad, but I can do better, and I am gonna do better. So make sure you follow me if you haven't already on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn and Facebook. Nah, Facebook business. I'm not trying to have more Facebook friends. All right. So number two, I want to tell you what I help my clients with that they struggle the most with. What my clients struggle the most with, and this is a majority of my clients are small business owners. They have probably less than 5 employees. Majority of them are contractors. They make less than anywhere from $5 to $2 million. And so when they are struggling with their marketing, not only are they not posting, number one, right? They're not posting, but then number two, they are telling people, here, let me rephrase this. It is their audience that is the problem. They're making everything about them. They feel they are the audience. No, this is not the case. This is furthest from the truth than ever. Their audience, their customers is not you. And it's hard because you can say, look, I'm trying to look at something to where I don't want to give anybody any brand recognition here, but I'm just gonna say this is my knife, right? This is my knife that I have, and I keep this pocket knife with me all the time. Now this is a pretty expensive knife, and there's different qualities of knives, right? But when it comes to the owner of this knife, I'm sure the owner, or excuse me, the founder, the creator of the knife said, I wanted something that I can use. Most of the time, as small business, as founders, we create services and products that we said, I was looking for something, they didn't have it. Now I'm going to create something for myself that I'm sure other people would want too. And of course, when you share something, especially, I know someone that likes to bake. They make phenomenal cakes. They're a great cook, and she's a phenomenal cook. But she just cooks it really for her family. She doesn't really go out and sell it to the masses. I think if she did, she could be making some bucks. And most of the time, she is one of my fans and listening, so I encourage her to do that. But what my clients have told me is they don't get the clients because they're like, this is what I want them to have, and it's like, no, you need to ask them what do they want to have. So the number two problem, or I'm sorry, the number two thing is why they don't have the right customers is because they're appealing to the wrong audience, and they made their number one audience, which I call their avatar, the number one ideal client avatar, they make it themselves. That is an absolute no-no. You need to find your number one client avatar, your ideal customer, and get their feedback. Once you stop as a business owner, as a founder, especially as a founder, we love everything that we do because it's our baby. How can you not love it, right? I love it, right? But not everyone else is going to love it, and you have to be okay with that. But there are people out there that will love it. This is where, when you start with me, number one, when you post, you tell people the things that you do, because what happens, oh, thank you, Trunk the Puck, I appreciate that. When you tell people what you do, automatically they're going to question, like, what? And they're going to be like, wait, what happened to that one job you had? Like, what about, wait, you didn't tell me this. Sometimes people get like real defensive. They're like, I don't know you were doing all that. I didn't know you, like, what, huh? What? And then they're like, oh, who said, what, wait, what do you mean you do all that, right? When they start seeing you operate that way, they're like, oh, you can do that? Oh, tell me more. Again, you start building a muscle, which because it leads to number three. When you start posting, number one, you post to tell people you ain't about to be the next best kept secret, okay? You ain't about to be that. Then you go to number two, you start identifying the right audience, and we can go the STP, segment, target, and position. You start positioning yourself with the right audience to where now they're like, ooh, you sell this? I've been looking for this all my life. Child, where you been? Right? Now, number three, what my clients have told me, now they start getting feedback. They are now getting feedback and saying that ideal client is now telling them like, oh, now I have some friends that I think it would be good. And I don't know if you thought about this, but you should probably do this. And I started this in restaurants. And what people started to tell my clients, this is what my clients have told me. They said, once I started posting more, basically telling people what I do, right? And I can give an example of an individual. It doesn't have to be business, okay? But let me just finish this. So when it comes to they started telling people what they did because they didn't want to be the best kept secret in town. And then I started to identify who is the best ideal client avatar, best ideal client or the customer that they wanted to appeal to, because they stopped making it about themselves. They were mature enough and understood that if I don't get more people, I need to change something. So they started to receive feedback. They were open to the feedback. And what happened, like even with my restaurants, they were like, it worked better when I was catering versus, say, servicing in brick and mortar. I can't use my phone as an example because it's right there. But when I started using my phone, because the majority of the business owners, they're older, they didn't want to use a phone. We were stubborn. I'm stubborn, right? But when I stopped being stubborn and started to listen, open my mind, not to say my mind wasn't open, but it was closed off to the idea, because who's going to tell me how to run my baby, right? Who's going to tell me? Here's where I had to come in to say, Nathan, this person wants to see my company grow, and they were willing to take me to the next level. So the last thing, what needed to happen was getting feedback to tell me what wasn't working. So this is where you create a system. Like, okay, it's one thing to like post, but then you identify the people and then you get into feedback. You create this system of, hopefully you're creating this funnel where the more people coming in and you're talking to, the more people start telling you what works for them and what doesn't work for them. You start building this awesome, phenomenal business. Now, let me give you the example of an individual. And I get this with my college students all the time. And in my first year of teaching, I didn't really understand how students were maneuvering. Which was 10 years ago. Social media is not what it is today. But I will start with the core principle is their inability to articulate what they do. And so when you're not able to articulate what you do, but not articulate it in a way of where you're speaking about all the cool things you've done, you have to keep it more simple. It's more of, when I was going to school for computer science, I needed to be able to say I could program in this language. So I would go to people and say, do you need help building something? Back then there was a website, because we didn't have access to like how you can build a website today. So it's like, I can build you a website and post it for you, and your information will be out there because I know how to code and such and such. And they were like, oh, basically I told them I could solve their problem without them having to worry about it. And what that does as an individual, now they're like, oh, as an individual, as I'm talking to a company, they were like, well, let me get back to you. As my students were starting to come to me and ask me about my agency, and they were like, I'm getting further along because I was teaching lower level classes, 100 level. Then I started to teach the 300 and the 400 level courses. Then they started to get more specific of where I'm only like a year to 2 years out of graduating. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. I need to pay my bills. Student loans are going to be due in 6 months after I graduate. So what am I going to do? Like, who should I talk to? Do you know people that are hiring? You start to hear the panic, the anxiety in their voice and their energy. So you say, okay, calm down. This is what you need to start to do. You need to start to qualify what's going to work and what's not going to work. Just like school, life happens. You're going to have to do this job 365 days a year. So you need to find something that you can do when you're not like really want to. And let's just say there's no perfect job. But the number one thing you can do is take the job for the experience, not for the money. When I started to tell folks that, they started to learn, students, I shouldn't say older folks. Some of them were older though, but when I started telling my students, take the job for the experience, everything shifted. And it shifted because the way they were posting wasn't as desperate. The way they started to position themselves was, I'm not going just to like send out an application and wait for someone to respond back. They position themselves as, look, I'm going to submit this application, and then I'm going to follow up, and then I'm going to let them know that I'm here. And yes, I'm not the most qualified person, but I'm here and I'm willing. They position themselves as they would be a great candidate. And then lastly, if they weren't a great candidate, they took feedback, because the beautiful thing about when you make yourself coachable, people want to work with you. Look, nothing's perfect, but if you position yourself as a person of, I can make improvements and adjustments along the way. I'm flexible, and these are my skill sets in these clear lines, boundaries. This is what I can do for you. I'm not, and I do this with my clients. I'm like, I may have not done this, or I'm not familiar with this, but I will figure it out. Give me some time. I'll work with you. I'll let you know the status. But by that point in time, it doesn't matter if it's a business or if it's an individual. What we have learned is to gain that person's trust. That person has learned to trust you. Because after a while, they were like, okay, they're a good person. I have seen some of their work, posting, or they have a portfolio, or I tasted their cake. Hey, they can deliver. Now it's whether or not do I have the opportunity for them. So this is where I say to you, like, please, 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 don't be the best kept secret. Please don't be the best kept secret. Please tell people what you do, and tell them what you do with a smile. Tell them what you do with some umph. Tell them what you do in a way that make them look at you different and curious to question, where have you been all my life, right? I think that's the biggest problem I can say I have had for even myself is I don't show up as strong as I can. When I show up and I'm there like presenting and everything, when I go to a conference, I show up and show out. You got to do the same thing. The reason why most businesses don't have the right customers or the right clients, and they can have customers, they can have clients, they can have patients, they can have students. But most of the time, what I've encountered is they're not getting the right clients. They're not getting the right customers. And it's because they made it about the transaction rather than the relationship. And that's all telling people about how you move in this space. So those postings that you're on social, the website's cool. You do need a website. So I don't want you to hear me say, "Ooh, bless you." Excuse me. I don't want you to hear me say that I not to have a website. A website is very static, but when people go to your social media, it is your personality. This is how they can just binge, scroll like you do, scroll to determine whether or not they're gonna want to work with you. So when it comes to not being the best kept secret, when you want to get more clients, how do you get more customers? You got to let people know what you do. That's how they're going to get to know you. They're going to just have an opportunity. What did Michael Jordan said? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You're putting yourself out there just so you can have a shot. I tell my college students all the time, just because you have a degree doesn't mean you're going to get a career. You just have a key to open more doors. You just got to figure out what key or what door that key is going to lead to that can open the door. It doesn't mean you automatically have that door open. It just opens that door. And that door is where, again, people have given you the opportunity to now win this opportunity because they got a chance to get to know, like, and trust you. And when I say trust you, that means, okay, I trust them. And the last thing I'll say, because I want to just kind of loop back to the AI stuff, um, AI is AI is good. AI is not going anywhere. AI is going to be the next evolution of the internet. Like I get it. However, there's nothing, and you can create posts on AI. You can run your systems on AI. You can do chat bots to help you, or not chat bots, AI bots to help you with tasks. Again, I'm not saying not to use AI. Use AI. It can make your life a lot easier. You can do something from that used to take months into days. Seriously, literally. If you do it right, it just takes time. The number one thing, though, when it comes to AI, it does need a human component, element, assistance. That means it needs you. You have to manage that. This is where moving forward, yes, if you can create an AI element piece to this, great. But if you're like a chef and you're cooking, you're gonna say, how does that work? It may not work just yet, but it doesn't mean that it can't help you create an ordering system or an intake system or a DM system. One of the last things I want to say when it comes to AI that can help you, like a lot of your time may be spent up is having conversations with people, telling them what you do. Because that is the thing that takes the most time, is explaining to people what you do, is the education. So when we create content, they say you can entertain, right? These dancing videos, right? You can inform, or you can educate. Now, there's a new one. Now they say that you can motivate. So if you do motivational content, right? But some of that, it comes back to, is no longer informational based. It is information, but it's also through the form of inspiration. So I'm like, there's a difference between inspiration and motivation. I'm not gonna get into that, but those are the different types of content that you can post. You can inform, educate, motivate, and educate. So I didn't see any comments that had any questions. or I didn't see you in the chat. For those that were watching, thank you. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Check out my podcast. I do talk about some of these things. I have other videos to talk about these things, but I appreciate the ones that did come on. Follow me through that. That are continuously. I know I went live yesterday, and I didn't have some of my regulars today, but I also didn't promote it today because today's the day after Christmas. So for those that did celebrate, I hope you had a great day yesterday, and I hope you're recovering. And those that were watching this like maybe 6 months afterwards, yes, I still put in the work because watching people, especially, for me, business owners are still people, and watching those founders or business owners struggle with this is frustrating, especially when they have a great product, when they have a great service. They're just the best kept secret. And that's not a place you ever want to be, because if you don't have clients, you won't have a business. And so make sure you post, tell people what you're doing, okay? Get that audience and get that feedback. I wish you nothing but the best. Dream big and Godspeed. I'm out.